Is AJ as elusive as Fury? No. Is AJ as deceptive as Fury? No. But is AJ more dangerous? Yeah, absolutely. His skill set is less about deception and more about destruction. So high risk, high reward. We'll look at some simple things and some more advanced skills that people often overlook when engaging AJ. AJ isn't just dangerous because he punches hard. He's dangerous because when he's at his best, he knows how to coordinate and calculate how to deliver his punches in the right place at the right time. Here we go. So starting out with some simple stuff, I'm primarily looking at the 5th round versus Wallin. And you see there's this lead hand battle up top. He's going to put that lead hand up top, bring the guard up top, punch down the middle. So we're starting off simple. One of the essential keys to his success in this fight was the balance required to redistribute his weight based upon what type of attack or what type of defense he was going to engage in. So when Wallin is going to come over top with a jab, he just slightly pulls back, drops his weight back on that back leg to get out of the way. And then immediately he can come forward, work behind that jab and start closing the distance. And then what does he do? He jabs and then the guard closes around. He comes around with the hook. And the weight distribution was effective when it came to countering, but sometimes when he was on offense, he would kind of get stuck on the front foot with jabs to the body, and kind of like how he was with that overhand. But you notice right after that right hand, what's Wallin doing? He's circling away from the right, which means he's going to the left. AJ cuts him off with the left hook. So AJ's constantly removing options, constantly smothering any attempts to make room for Wallin. It's not the actions themselves, but rather how efficiently he's doing them in succession. So he backs him up against the ropes. When he backs him up against the ropes, the guard gets tight and then he hooks around with the right hand. And so Wallin circles around and he gets tagged with the left. So he's removing options, right? That fire that a fighter has can get smothered if they're constantly getting pressed in a way to where they can't open up the way they want to. And now we'll look at something a little bit more advanced. I've covered AJ and how he sets traps, but notice how when he's coming forward, what does he do? He does a slight little pullback. I was talking about that weight distribution. He pulls his weight back just a little bit, just a couple inches. And we'll see why that's important in a couple seconds. In order to set the trap, you have to have bait. So what's the bait? AJ's sitting in front of him, a still target right in front of Wallin, giving him an opportunity that he was struggling to find earlier. So he's giving him the perfect opportunity because Wallin couldn't really do anything. Wallin tried to take the opportunity. He steps forward with the jab. Remember what AJ did earlier? He leaned that weight back just enough to get out of the way and then boom, pull counter. So the bait is a still target. The response from Wallin gets him into the trap, and then AJ springs the trap with a pull counter. When AJ is relaxed, these types of traps and counters are very common. In order to beat AJ, you gotta make him uncomfortable. You gotta smother his flame so his fighting spirit starts to decrease and he mentally can't get in the space where he's relaxed enough to start countering like that. If you pay attention to his eyes, he's very aware. He's waiting for any motion. As soon as he sees the motion, he's springing another trap. So he's ready to counter off everything. This time he does an outside slip so he gets his head off to Otto Wallin's right as he throws the left and counters him coming in again. So AJ's at his best when he's calm and he's prepared and his eyes are just focused, laser focused. So that's what, in order for Francis Ngannou to be successful, he's gonna have to find ways to get AJ off of his game. Because mentally, AJ's at his strongest when he's focused like this, not trying to be a big bruiser or a baller, but being a tactical counterpuncher using his athleticism. And this is an easy way to identify traps. Look, as soon as AJ sees a little, first of all, look at what he's doing. He's still, again, staying in front of him. As soon as AJ gets a little bit of a movement, what's he do? He pulls back and he's like, okay, that's not it. So the trap kind of got sprung, but not fully. So you can tell he's ready for these. And then when he gets a real thing, let's see how he reacts to the real thing. Boom. So he's ready to spring that trap constantly, and that constant threat, they often say a counterpuncher can shut down somebody's offense. If everything you do is getting punished, you don't want to do very much. And so that's why AJ was able to dominate Wallin the way he was, and that's why he could possibly do it to Francis Ngannou, he's very fast for his size, but he may not be fast enough to get to AJ, but he might have the reach. We'll talk more about that later down the line. But yeah, those counters accomplish the goal of taking away his jab, his cross, so really his primary weapons. And so Wallin has very little to work with. Is AJ going to be able to do this to Francis? I think to a certain extent, absolutely. But will it be as effective? That depends on the chin of Francis and the mental state of both Francis and AJ. AJ stylistically was stereotyped as a heavy-handed puncher, but he's at his best when he fights like this, or when he fights like how he did against Pulev. Now, depending on the opponent, like Usyk, it might not be smart for him to box the way he did in the first Usyk fight, and he may have to brawl more. But generally, against most heavyweights, he's far better when he fights like this. So yeah, utilizing that and maximizing his IQ and athleticism. Yeah, we'll just keep it like that. Fights and Science, Immortality Serum out. Watch out for some more coming soon.